Welcome to my channel Starwire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone on what seems like any other Tuesday morning, coffee in hand, when suddenly, boom, a photo stops you dead in your tracks. Liam Hemsworth, the ruggedly handsome Australian heartthrob who once promised forever to Miley Cyrus, is down on one knee. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. The woman saying yes isn't the pop princess who gave us Wrecking Ball. What you're about to discover will completely change how you see one of Hollywood's most talked about love triangles. Because behind those perfectly staged paparazzi shots and carefully crafted Instagram posts lies a web of heartbreak, jealousy, and shocking revelations that even we couldn't have predicted. Welcome back to Starwire Daily, where we dive deep into the stories that matter most in Hollywood. I'm your host, and today, we're pulling back the curtain on a story that's been years in the making. Let's rewind to where it all began, shall we? 2009. Barack Obama had just taken office. Lady Gaga was dominating the charts with Poker Face, and somewhere on the set of The Last Song, two young stars were falling head over heels in love. Miley Cyrus, fresh off her Hannah Montana reign, and Liam Hemsworth, the charming newcomer with those piercing blue eyes that could make anyone weak in the knees. But this wasn't just any Hollywood romance. This was the kind of love story that tabloid dreams are made of: passionate, tumultuous, and utterly consuming. For nearly a decade, Miley and Liam's relationship became a roller coaster that had fans gripping the edge of their seats. They'd break up, make up, get engaged, call it off, and somehow always find their way back to each other. It was intoxicating to watch, like a real-life soap opera playing out in the pages of People magazine. Their first engagement in 2012 felt like a fairy tale moment. Miley, just 20 years old, flashing that stunning Neil Lane ring worth reportedly $65,000. Social media exploded. Fans went wild. Even the most cynical entertainment reporters found themselves rooting for young love. But as we all learned, fairy tales in Hollywood have a way of turning into cautionary tales. The pressure was immense. Imagine being in your early 20s, trying to figure out who you are, while millions of people analyze your every move. Miley was transitioning from Disney darling to, well, let's just say her bangers era raised more than a few eyebrows. Meanwhile, Liam was building his career, landing major roles, trying to establish himself as more than just Miley's boyfriend. The cracks began to show. Sources close to the couple, and in Hollywood, there are always sources, whispered about heated arguments, different life goals, and the suffocating weight of constant scrutiny. By September 2013, it was over. The engagement was off, and both stars were left to pick up the pieces of what many believed was their forever love. But here's where the story gets interesting, because if you thought that was the end, you clearly don't know Miley Cyrus. What followed was perhaps the most fascinating chapter in both of their lives. Miley threw herself into reinvention with a vengeance. She dated Patrick Schwarzenegger, had a highly publicized relationship with Caitlyn Carter, and eventually married actor Liam Hemsworth in December 2018. Wait, that's not right. Sorry. Let me correct that timeline because it's crucial to understanding what happened next. After their 2013 breakup, both Miley and Liam dated other people. Miley had her wild phase, and I mean wild phase, while Liam kept things relatively quiet, as is his nature. But then, like a plot twist in a romantic comedy, they found each other again in 2016. The reconciliation was swift and surprising. Suddenly, they were inseparable again. The chemistry was undeniable. The love seemed stronger than ever. And by October 2016, that Neil Lane ring was back on Miley's finger. This time felt different, more mature, more permanent. Their December 2018 wedding was intimate, beautiful, and everything their teenage selves probably dreamed it would be. Miley wore a stunning white gown. Liam looked dapper in his black suit. And for a brief, shining moment, it seemed like they had finally figured it out. But fairy tales, as we know, don't always have happy endings. By August 2019, just 8 months after their wedding, cracks were showing again. But this time, it wasn't just tabloid speculation. Photos emerged of Miley getting cozy with Caitlyn Carter while on vacation in Italy. The images sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Here was Miley, seemingly moving on, while Liam was reportedly blindsided by the very public display. The divorce announcement came shortly after, with both parties citing irreconcilable differences. But anyone who followed their story knew it was more complicated than that. Sources close to Liam painted a picture of a man who felt betrayed, not just by the relationship's end, but by how publicly it unfolded. Meanwhile, Miley's camp suggested she felt trapped by traditional expectations and needed to embrace her true self. Now, fast forward to today, and here's where our story takes its most dramatic turn yet. While Miley has been focusing on her music, her sobriety journey, and her relationship with her family, Liam has been quietly rebuilding his life. And apparently, that rebuilding included falling deeply in love with someone new. The engagement news broke like a thunderclap in the entertainment world, and while most fans were happy for Liam's newfound happiness, those close to Miley paint a very different picture. According to multiple sources, and we're talking about people who have been in Miley's inner circle for years, the news hit her harder than anyone expected. One insider revealed that despite everything that happened between them, Miley never truly believed Liam would move on completely. There was always this underlying assumption that their connection was too deep, too significant to ever be replicated with someone else. But here's what makes this story even more compelling. The woman who captured Liam's heart isn't some Hollywood starlet or model. She's someone completely outside the entertainment industry, someone who represents everything that Miley, in many ways, couldn't give him during their tumultuous relationship: stability, privacy, and a life away from the constant glare of the spotlight. Friends close to Miley describe her reaction as a mixture of devastation and disbelief. One source, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed that Miley spent an entire weekend listening to their old songs, looking through photo albums, and questioning whether she made the biggest mistake of her life. Now, before we dive deeper into Miley's emotional response, it's important to understand the psychology behind this reaction. When you share such a formative relationship with someone, and let's be honest, Miley and Liam's relationship shaped both of their adult identities. Seeing them commit to someone else can feel like a rejection of everything you once shared. Relationship experts who have studied celebrity breakups often point to what they call the assumption of irreplaceability. When you've shared such intense highs and lows with someone, when you've broken up and gotten back together multiple times, there's often an unconscious belief that you hold a unique place in their heart that no one else could possibly fill. Miley, who has always worn her heart on her sleeve, who has built a career on raw emotional honesty, was reportedly struggling with the realization that Liam had not only moved on, but had found something with someone else that he apparently never found with her, despite their decade-long history. But here's where the plot thickens, and this is information that's just coming to light. Multiple sources are now revealing that Miley had actually reached out to Liam earlier this year. Not romantically, mind you, but as someone who wanted to clear the air to perhaps find some closure and maybe, just maybe, to test the waters and see if there were any lingering feelings. According to these sources, Liam was cordial but distant. He apparently made it clear that he was in a serious relationship and was happy. But what Miley didn't realize at the time was just how serious this relationship had become. The engagement, according to those close to Liam, had been planned for months, making Miley's outreach particularly poignant in hindsight. One particularly heartbreaking detail that's emerged is that Miley apparently learned about the engagement through social media, just like the rest of us. Imagine that for a moment, finding out that your first love, the person you married and divorced, the person who knows you better than almost anyone else in the world, is getting engaged to someone else through an Instagram post. The emotional whiplash must have been devastating. But this is where Miley's story becomes not just sad, but genuinely inspiring. Because what happened next shows exactly why she's remained one of Hollywood's most resilient and authentic stars. Instead of lashing out publicly, instead of making cryptic social media posts or giving bitter interviews, Miley reportedly took some time to process her feelings privately. She leaned on her family, particularly her mother Tish, who has always been a rock through every career high and personal low. Sources close to the Cyrus family reveal that Billy Ray sat down with his daughter for a heart-to-heart conversation that lasted several hours. He apparently reminded her that her relationship with Liam, despite how it ended, gave her some of the most beautiful songs in her catalog and taught her valuable lessons about love, commitment, and personal growth. And then something beautiful happened. Miley began to shift her perspective from loss to gratitude. Friends say she started talking about how lucky she was to have experienced such an intense love, even if it didn't last forever. She reportedly said that if Liam found happiness with someone else, then maybe their relationship served its purpose in preparing both of them for their real, forever person. This emotional evolution is so quintessentially Miley, taking pain and transforming it into wisdom, taking heartbreak and turning it into art. Industry insiders are already speculating that this emotional journey will undoubtedly influence her next musical project. Miley has never been shy about mining her personal life for artistic inspiration. And this experience, the shock, the heartbreak, the ultimate acceptance, seems tailor-made for the kind of raw, emotional songwriting that has always been her signature. But there's another layer to this story that makes it even more fascinating. This situation is forcing Miley to confront some uncomfortable truths about her past decisions and her approach to relationships. According to those close to her, she's been doing a lot of self-reflection about her pattern of public relationships and whether her need for authenticity and transparency might actually be sabotaging her chances for lasting love. One particularly insightful source revealed that Miley has been questioning whether her very public processing of emotions, something that has endeared her to millions of fans, might be too much pressure for potential partners who aren't used to living under such intense scrutiny. It's a fascinating contradiction, really. The very thing that makes Miley such a compelling artist and public figure, her radical honesty and emotional transparency, might be the thing that makes long-term relationships challenging for her. But here's what's truly remarkable about this whole situation. Instead of becoming bitter or cynical about love, people close to Miley say this experience has actually opened her heart even more. She's reportedly become more appreciative of the love she does have in her life, from her family, her friends, her fans, and more intentional about the kind of romantic relationship she wants to cultivate in the future. There are whispers that she's even considering stepping back from the public eye slightly when it comes to future relationships, wanting to protect that sacred space where love can grow without the pressure of constant observation and analysis. And then there's the question everyone's wondering about. Has Miley reached out to congratulate Liam on his engagement? According to our sources, she hasn't, and probably won't. Not out of spite or bitterness, but because she recognizes that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to give them space to be happy without any reminders of the past. It's a mature decision that shows how much she's grown since their tumultuous early days. Now, let's talk about what this all means for Miley's future. Because if there's one thing we know about Miley Cyrus, it's that she never stays down for long. This woman has reinvented herself more times than Madonna, survived public scrutiny that would break most people, and emerged stronger each time. Industry experts are already predicting that this experience will lead to some of her most powerful and relatable music yet. Heartbreak, after all, has always been the muse of great artists, and Miley has never shied away from turning her pain into other people's anthems. There's also speculation about her romantic future. While she's currently focusing on her personal growth and artistic projects, those close to her say she's more open to love than ever before, but with new boundaries and a clearer understanding of what she needs in a partner. The Liam chapter of her life, as painful as its final closing might be, has taught her valuable lessons about compatibility, communication, and the importance of growing in the same direction as your partner. As we wrap up this deep dive into one of Hollywood's most complex love stories, it's worth remembering that behind all the headlines and social media posts are real people with real feelings. Miley's devastation over Liam's engagement isn't just celebrity drama. It's a deeply human response to seeing someone you once planned to spend your life with choose that life with someone else. But if there's anyone who can transform this pain into something beautiful and meaningful, it's Miley Cyrus. She's always been a phoenix, rising from the ashes of each chapter of her life, more authentic and self-aware than before. So what do you think? Do you believe Miley and Liam were meant to be? Or was their love story always destined to prepare them for other people? Have you ever experienced that gut-wrenching feeling of seeing an ex move on with someone else? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing your perspectives on these complex Hollywood love stories. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the emotional reality behind the headlines, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to StarWire Daily for more exclusive insights into the lives of your favorite celebrities. We're here every week with the stories that matter most in Hollywood. Until next time, keep loving, keep growing, and remember, sometimes the most beautiful love stories are the ones that teach us how to love better the next time around.